Lesson 110 is about mark up and mark down. And our first question says, Miss Franklin bought new dresses for $40 each. She marked the dresses up 150%. What was the price she charged her customers? So markup is something that a business will do. They'll buy a product directly from a manufacturer for a certain price. Maybe, for instance, they buy it for $50. But in order for them to make a profit, they're going to mark up the price, and maybe they're going to sell it for $100 so that they make a profit. Mark down, well, that would be just the opposite. That would be like a sale, or maybe a clearance, where a price that was originally $100, it might be going down to $70 because it's been marked down. So in this one, Miss Franklin bought new dresses for $40 each. She marked the dresses up 150%. What was the price she charged her customers? So we're going to have to find 150% of $40 in order to find out what our markup is. And we'll call that M for markup. And actually, let's write it out this first time. So markup is the amount that would be added on to the original so that the store owner could make a profit. So 150% is the same as 1.5, because we bring that decimal over 2 to the left, times 40, and we can figure out that answer. 1.5 times 40, we've got 0 as a placeholder. 4 times 5 is 20, we'll carry our 2. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 more is 6. So we get 600, but we've got to move the decimal out 1, so we bring it in 1, so we get 60. So the markup is $60. In order to find the price she charged her customers, we've got to take her original price that she paid for it of $40, add her markup of $60 to get a grand total of 40 plus 60. That must be equal to $100. And we've got our final answer. Let's look at some problems with markdowns. Sybil saw the coat was marked down 30%. If the original price was $80, what was the price of the coat now? So we want to take 30% away from $80 to find a new price. So 30% of $80 is what price? And we'll call it P for price. 30% of $80, well, 30% is 0.3 times $80 will tell us what our price is. 0.3 times 80, well, we've got 0 as a placeholder. 8 times 3 is 24. Take the decimal out once, so bring it back in once, and we get 24. So the price, P, is $24. So what we're saying is 30% of $80 is $24. Now, $24, that's less than half of 80. $24, that's not our final price. $24, that has to be our markdown. So even though we called it P and said that was the price, that's actually the price marked down. So in order to find the price of the coat now, we've got to take 24 away from 80. 80 minus 24. I'm going to borrow from the 8 to get 7. 10 minus 4 is 6. 7 minus 2 is 5. So we get an answer of $56. This seems more reasonable because if it's marked down 30%, that means it should still be at least more than half of $80. And half of $80 is 40, and 56 is more than that, so it makes sense for our answer. Let's look at another problem with markdown. The sale price of the rug was $120. If it had been marked down 40% for the sale, what was the original price? So in order to do this problem, if it was marked down 40%, what that means is the original price, we'll call that OP for our original price, we must have taken, well, we need to find 60% of the original price because it had been marked down 40%. And 40 taken away from 100 is 60. So 60% of the original price is going to be equal to $120, because that's how much the sale was. So 60%, let's change that to 0.6 times our original price is equal to $120. Now, in order to undo the multiplication of 0.6, we've got to divide by 0.6, because that's 1. And then we divide the other side by 0.6 to find our answer. Now we know we never divide by a decimal number, so we move our decimal over 1. We take our decimal in our numerator and we move it over 1. So our real problem becomes 1200 divided by 6. Well, 6 must go into 12 two times. And then we've got two zeros that come along. That must be 200. 6 times 200 is 1200. So we've got our final answer. $200. That must have been the original price. When we're solving these problems with mark up and mark down, it's really important that we read the question carefully, because the most difficult part is writing out our equation. Once we've got that, we can solve, but we need to take our time to make sure we get the equation correct. Lesson practice will be on page 343. Make sure you've got your notes complete, and I'll see you during our next class.